The Old Man and the Sea Part 7. He could not see the fish's jumps but only heard the breaking of the ocean and the heavy splash as he fell. The speed of the line was cutting his hands badly, but he had always known this would happen, and he tried to keep the cutting across the calloused parts and not let the line slip into the palm nor cut the fingers. If the boy was here he would wet the coils of line, he thought. Yes. If the boy were here. If the boy were here. The line went out and out and out, but it was slowing now, and he was making the fish earn each inch of it. Now he got his head up from the wood and out of the slice of fish that his cheek had crushed. Then he was on his knees, and then he rose slowly to his feet. He was seating line, but more slowly all the time. He worked back to where he could feel with his foot the coils of line that he could not see. There was plenty of line still, and now the fish had to pull the friction of all that new line through the water. Yes, he thought. And now he has jumped more than a dozen times and filled the sacks along his back with air, and he cannot go down deep to die where I cannot bring him up. He will start circling soon, and then I must work on him. I wonder what started him so suddenly? Could it have been hunger that made him desperate, or was he frightened by something in the night? Maybe he suddenly felt fear. But he was such a calm, strong fish, and he seemed so fearless and so confident. It is strange. You better be fearless and confident yourself, old man, he said. You're holding him again, but you cannot get line. But soon he has to circle. The old man held him with his left hand and his shoulders now, and stooped down and scooped up water in his right hand to get the crushed dolphin flesh off of his face. He was afraid that it might nauseate him and he would vomit and lose his strength. When his face was cleaned, he washed his right hand in the water over the side and then let it stay in the salt water while he watched the first light come before the sunrise. He's headed almost east, he thought. That means he is tired and going with the current. Soon he will have to circle. Then our true work begins. After he judged that his right hand had been in the water long enough, he took it out and looked at it. It is not bad, he said. And pain does not matter to a man. He took hold of the line carefully so that it did not fit into any of the fresh line cuts, and shifted his weight so that he could put his left hand into the sea on the other side of the skiff. You did not do so badly for something worthless, he said to his left hand. But there was a moment when I could not find you. Why was I not born with two good hands? He thought. Perhaps it was my fault in not training that one properly. But God knows he has had enough chances to learn. He did not do so badly in the night, though, and he has only cramped once. If he cramps again, let the line cut him off. When he thought that, he knew that he was not being clear-headed, and he thought he should chew some more of the dolphin. But I can't, he told himself. It is better to be light-headed than to lose your strength from nausea. And I know I cannot keep it if I eat it, since my face was in it. I will keep it for an emergency until it goes bad. But it is too late to try for strength now through nourishment. You're stupid, he told himself. Eat the other flying fish. It was there, cleaned and ready, and he picked it up with his left hand and ate it, chewing the bones carefully and eating all of it down to the tail. It has more nourishment than almost any fish, he thought. At least the kind of strength that I need. Now I have done what I can, he thought. Let him begin to circle and let the fight come. The sun was rising for the third time since he had put to sea when the fish started to circle. He could not see by the slant of the line that the fish was circling. It was too early for that. He just felt a faint slackening of the pressure of the line, and he commenced to pull on it gently with his right hand. It tightened, as always, but just when he reached the point where it would break, line began to come in. He slipped his shoulders and head from under the line and began to pull in line steadily and gently. He used both of his hands in a swinging motion and tried to do the pulling as much as he could with his body and his legs. His old legs and shoulders pivoted with the swinging of the pulling. It is a very big circle, he said. But he is circling. Then the line would not come in any more, and he held it until he saw the drops jumping from it in the sun. Then it started out, and the old man knelt down and let it go grudgingly back into the dark water. He is making the far part of his circle now, he said. I must hold all I can, he thought. The strain will shorten his circle each time. Perhaps in an hour I will see him. Now I must convince him and then I must kill him. But the fish kept on circling slowly and the old man was wet with sweat and tired deep into his bones 2 hours later. But the circles were much shorter now, and from the way the line slanted he could tell the fish had risen steadily while he swam. For an hour the old man had been seeing black spots before his eyes, and the sweat salted his eyes and salted the cut over his eye and on his forehead. He was not afraid of the black spots. They were normal at the tension that he was pulling on the line. Twice, though, he had felt faint and dizzy, and that had worried him. "I could not fail myself and die on a fish like this," he said. "Now that I have him coming so beautifully, God help me endure. I'll say 100 Our Fathers and 100 Hail Marys. But I cannot say them now. Consider them said," he thought. "I'll say them later." Just then he felt a sudden banging and jerking on the line he held with his 2 hands. It was sharp and hard feeling and heavy. "He is hitting the wire leader with his spear," he thought. That was bound to come. He had to do that. It may make him jump though, and I would rather he stayed circling now. The jumps were necessary for him to take air. But after that each one can widen the opening of the hook wound and he can throw the hook. "Don't jump, fish," he said. "Don't jump." The fish hit the wire several times more, and each time he shook his head the old man gave up a little line. "I must hold his pain where it is," he thought. "Mine does not matter. I can control mine." But his pain could drive him mad. After a while the fish stopped beating at the wire and started circling slowly again. The old man was gaining line steadily now. But he felt faint again. He lifted some sea water with his left hand and put it on his head. Then he put more on and rubbed the back of his neck. "I have no cramps," he said. "He'll be up soon and I can last." "You have to last. Don't even speak of it." He kneeled against the bow and, for a moment, slipped the line over his back again. "I'll rest now while he goes out on the circle and then stand up and work on him when he comes in," he decided. It was a great temptation to rest in the bow and let the fish make one circle by himself without recovering any line. But when the strain showed the fish had turned to come toward the boat, the old man rose to his feet and started the pivoting and the weaving pulling that brought in all the line he gained. "I'm tireder than I have ever been," he thought, "and now the trade wind is rising. But that will be good to take him in with. I need that badly. I'll rest on the next turn as he goes out," he said. "I feel much better. Then in 2 or 3 turns more I will have him." His straw hat was far on the back of his head and he sank down into the bow with the pull of the line as he felt the fish turn. "You work now, fish," he thought. "I'll take you at the turn." The sea had risen considerably. But it was a fair weather breeze and he had to have it to get home. "I'll just steer south and west," he said. A man is never lost at sea and it is a long island. It was on the 3rd turn that he saw the fish first. He saw him first as a dark shadow that took so long to pass under the boat that he could not believe its length. "No," he said. "He can't be that big." But he was that big, and at the end of this circle he came to the surface only 30 yards away and the man saw his tail out of water. It was higher than a big scythe blade and a very pale lavender above the dark blue water. It raked back, and as the fish swam just below the surface the old man could see his huge bulk and the purple stripes that banded him. His dorsal fin was down and his huge pectorals were spread wide. On this circle the old man could see the fish's eye and the 2 gray sucking fish that swam around him. Sometimes they attached themselves to him. Sometimes they darted off. Sometimes they would swim easily in his shadow. They were each over 3 feet long, and when they swam fast they lashed their whole bodies like eels. The old man was sweating now, but from something else besides the sun. On each calm placid turn the fish made he was gaining line, and he was sure that in 2 turns more he would have a chance to get the harpoon in. "But I must get him close, close, close," he thought. "I mustn't try for the head. I must get the heart. Be calm and strong, old man," he said. On the next circle the fish's back was out, but he was a little too far from the boat. On the next circle he was still too far away, but he was higher out of water, and the old man was sure that by gaining some more line he could have him alongside. He had rigged his harpoon long before, and its coil of light rope was in a round basket and the end was made fast to the bit in the bow. The fish was coming in on his circle now, calm and beautiful looking, and only his great tail moving. The old man pulled on him all that he could to bring him closer. For just a moment the fish turned a little on his side. Then he straightened himself and began another circle. "I moved him," the old man said. "I moved him then." He felt faint again now, but he held on the great fish all the strain that he could. "I moved him," he thought. "Maybe this time I can get him over." "Pull, hands," he thought. "Hold up, legs. Last for me, head. Last for me. You never went this time, I'll pull him over." But when he put all of his effort on, starting it well out before the fish came alongside and pulling with all his strength, the fish pulled part way over and then righted himself and swam away. "Fish," the old man said. "Fish, you are going to have to die anyway. Do you have to kill me too? That way nothing is accomplished," he thought. His mouth was too dry to speak, but he could not reach for the water now. "I must get him alongside this time," he thought. "I am not good for many more turns." "Yes, you are," he told himself. "You're good forever." On the next turn, he nearly had him. But again the fish righted himself and swam slowly away. "You are killing me, fish," the old man thought. "But you have a right to. Never have I seen a greater, or more beautiful, or a calmer or more noble thing than you, brother. Come on and kill me. I do not care who kills who. Now you are getting confused in the head," he thought. "You must keep your head clear. Keep your head clear and know how to suffer like a man. Or a fish," he thought. "Clear up, head," he said in a voice he could hardly hear. "Clear up." Twice more it was the same on the turns. "I do not know," the old man thought. He had been on the point of feeling himself go each time. "I do not know. But I will try it once more." He tried it once more and he felt himself going when he turned the fish. The fish righted himself and swam off again slowly with the great tail weaving in the air. "I'll try it again," the old man promised, although his hands were mushy now and he could only see well in flashes. He tried it again and it was the same. So he thought, and he felt himself going before he started, "I will try it once again."